Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses. This is not a podcast telling you you should do this, it's just telling you how I did this. I want to help you become a better leader at home and at work while building your business. And so we're talking about the home part today.
Yeah. Great lead in because being a leader at your home is an interesting topic when it comes to being married with kids and working from home. And this stirs up some opinions. So we're going to talk about it today. And especially after 2020, some people swear by working from home. Other people say that it's productivity, it's like a death sentence for productivity. Think a lot of that we're gonna uncover today, what works, what doesn't. And something you've said before is that working from home really isn't about comfort or even flexibility, but it's more about efficiency. So it depends on why you're working from home, whether or not you can be efficient in that space, and if you have the tools, boundaries, guardrails, all that stuff to protect you so that you can be efficient in your work, whether you're working from home or not. I mean, I think focus makes a big difference. But in this episode, we're going to dig into what you figured out that does work and what doesn't as an entrepreneur, a husband, a dad, and letting people know the what doesn't part is a key there. And it's going to be good because I'll be able to share some of my perspective from the mom side of things because I also work from home. So we'll be able to share both ends and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. And before we start, I want to be very clear on this. This isn't a episode about how to parent your kids or be a good husband. I'm terrible at fucking both. So I'm not here to give you advice, but I see people out there giving advice and having I don't know, they have their couples retreat where they teach you how to have a great marriage after their fourth fucking marriage and how to be a great parent when they couldn't parrot a fucking Russian tortoise. Okay, so I'm not here to talk about any of that crap. I'm not here to pretend like I've got all the shit figured out. I'm just telling you what's worked for me so far, and 99% of the people that are listening are not going to be able to fucking do it. So let's just get that out of the way right now. This has been 20 years of hammering my skills and being able to do this and it still doesn't fucking work half the time. So
All right, well, let's talk about the first
let's
point.
do it.
Work from home for efficiency, not comfort. That is definitely where we need to start in this conversation.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
I think there's a lot of people who work from home because they say, "Oh, it's nice to wake up and work in your pajamas and you don't have to worry very much and you can wear a suit up top if you're having a Zoom with shorts on the bottom like Kevin O'Leary," and they compare themselves and they say, "Well, Kevin does it." From Shark Tank, and yeah, Kevin does it because he's a fucking multi-hundred, maybe billion. I think he's close to a billionaire at this point. Yeah, he can do whatever the fuck he wants at his it's because he's on CNN and Fox News multiple times a day from his home studio, so he doesn't have to travel to these places. You can't do that. Like, that is not something that most people can do, and the whole point is not to dress up during the day or they wanna feel comfortable in what they are during the day. No, I work from home because I don't have an office to go to, and if I had an office, then that would waste time me driving to the office to do the same work that I can do at home, that I've trained myself to do at home. I get up and immediately I'm on my phone, and there's entrepreneurs out there that say, "Oh, wait an hour and do your morning routines before, you're on your phone." Okay, cool. Well, if I wake up 7 days a week and the first thing I do is look at my phone and start working, because I don't look at Instagram or anything like that, I go straight to my emails and clear out my email inbox first thing in the morning and see what I have to what fires I gotta put out and what things I start. And if I do that for an hour extra every day because you have spent, an hour, I don't know, in your zone, drinking your matcha tea and looking at the sun and the stars, then guess what? I've worked 7 more hours than you a week. I've worked 28 more hours than you a month, and I've worked 12 extra days than you a year. I think it's closer to 13 a year. And if I add that up over the course of 10 years, I've worked 120 days, a half a year longer than you. Just during that hour, getting shit done, getting up, getting it done right away. And so getting up and being lazy and working from home because your comfort, that's not entrepreneurship. That is avoidance. That is not really wanting to be a true entrepreneur. That is wanting to play business. Getting up so you can tell other people what to do is playing business. Like you have to get up and you have to do the shit that you have to do. And the reason why you're working from home shouldn't be if it shouldn't be because you're lazy or it shouldn't be because you want to be comfortable. It should be for efficiency. Like I work from home because I can get up and I can walk into my office within 5 minutes. I don't even eat breakfast anymore. I just drink water. I can start working within 15 minutes of getting up every single morning, and I am on my way. And most of the time, I'm not wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing what I would wear when I walk out the door, which is shorts and a t-shirt. Same shit that I'm wearing on the podcast, same shit I'm wearing in all my clips, same shit I'm wearing on stage. Literally is the same shit I wear every single day. Decision fatigue. I don't have to worry about it. I go to the shirt drawer, and guess what? I got black shirts that have Genesis on them, and maybe the Genesis is three different types of logos, and that's it. I just grab one of those, and that's it. I don't have to worry about decisions of what am I gonna wear today? How am I gonna look nice today? How am I this is what I wear. I can start working. And so living in Dallas as well, like traffic is absolutely terrible if you want to go anywhere. It's a nightmare. It's a pain in the ass. So working from home eliminates wasted time driving. It eliminates time going to being able to having to go to the gym. So, for example, we've talked about this on earlier podcasts, creating your lifestyle and the things in your life around what you do every single day to be as efficient as possible. And the story goes back to when I was on vacation one time years ago. I was able to go to the gym twice a day, get all my work done, sit and enjoy my meals. And it was like, well, why? And it's because everything was within a 5 minute walk. And so if I created something where everything is within a 5 minute walk, if I built my life around that, then it just makes things efficient. And if you look at multimillionaires, billionaires, stuff like that, and you see their houses, and it's got a full gym, it's got a full spa in it. If it's got these things inside of it, and you're like, fuck, that seems like a waste of money. But then as you're growing, you're like, holy shit, like they never have to leave their house for anything. So they're super efficient at everything they do. There's zero drive time. There's zero wasted time. There's zero time in traffic where they're waiting for something to happen. Like everything is can be meticulously done. And people maybe even extend it to businesses. Like I know, my mentor Andy Frisella at First Form, they have a barber shop inside First Form. The barber comes, I think, once a week and cuts hair all day there, for a discount for the employees. But I mean, that's intelligent. That gets people doing. They're still at work. They're getting their hair done, which is going to be a longer, for women longer. For guys, it's still an hour type type ordeal. Um, but they're able to do it at work. They're able to walk over, get it done, and then walk back. And so it just makes things efficient. So with First Form, with ultra wealthy people that you see online and they walk through these 10,000 square foot homes and they have 1,000 square foot gyms and 1,000 square foot spas and all that stuff, to them, that's not wasted money. That's money that they're going to invest right now because it's going to cost them a whole hell of a lot less in time, in effort, etc. if they have to leave the house versus having everything in their house that they can get done.
One of the cool things about First Form doing that for with the barber shop, it's so great because instead of I think about employees knowing, okay, so your team knows they need to make an appointment to get their hair done. They're thinking about it while they're on their job. They're probably booking the appointment, trying to figure out when they leave, how they leave. All this mental energy is spent on something that feels small, but if you calculate that probably over the entire company, the hours, the multiple hours that get spent from people not doing productive things for your company, like being able to bring that in-house, how easy and how, like, so smart. That's so smart.
And I mean, if we had so with Genesis, we obviously don't have a headquarters. We don't have a big area where there's a lot of executives in one place because we're just spread out and the company's spread out and brick and mortars are spread out. But if we had a business that was in one place, growing in one area, then it would make sense to do what they did. It would make sense to bring a barber shop in. It would make sense to bring a gym in there. So if again they have a gym and a full locker room set up to where anybody who wants to go work out during the day can go work out during the day and then shower and then get back to work. They just make it easy for them, for the employees to live life, exercise, take care of themselves, etc., all right there, which makes it efficient. It goes back to efficiency. How fast can you get back to work?
There's also another side to it where company morale is gonna go up. And we're not talking about ping pong tables, but you're talking about people feeling good.
Mhm.
When you work out, you feel
Yeah,
good.
oh, absolutely.
And so you're going to produce better. You're going to have better energy when you're with clients or even dealing with something difficult. You are going to show up different. So when your hair is cut and it's fresh and you've had a workout for the day, you're happy to be there. You want to be productive and the relationships are going to be better. And so, yes, efficiency, productivity, but the people themselves feeling great adds to those things. So, it's a win-win. It's not just about produce, 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 but you're providing something of real value to your team. And that's a really cool way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And healthy snack fridges,
Yeah,
which
those
I
those
would
are great
very
too,
much
I
like
guess,
because
yeah.
I love snacks and
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
food.
we're not doing that. People
Hell,
fucking eat
no,
us.
I just come
People eat us at a house and home.
I come to your house and
Yeah, you eat my snack fridge at home.
on the
Yeah.
podcast days, I was like, what did Steph buy this week?
Yeah, yeah,
Let
she's
me
at Costco right now spending $800,
let
so
me see what
exactly.
kind of snacks I can
Right,
have.
yeah.
So, yeah, we've talked about efficiency over comfort. How do you set up your home office so that there practically is a difference from it just being like this comfortable place and truly being a place that you can be the most productive in?
This has been, I guess, part of a learning experience, but growing up, my parents really helped me focus on my work, and they helped me do that by I remember sitting in the kitchen while my parents were there and they would either cook or, my mom was cooking or my dad was doing work in the kitchen. But they would work with me essentially. So my mom was cooking or my dad would work with me, like while I was doing homework. And so I saw exactly how to work, how to stay quiet, how to not say anything in those processes. So I saw them I saw them do it and saw them concentrate it on it. But as I got older, then I learned through essentially studying. So studying during high school, I made sure that work was always done in an efficient manner because my parents taught me that. I was at one point playing 4 sports, and in high school I played 3, I believe. I can't even remember. But in order to play those sports, I had to make sure that I had enough time after school to go to practice and make sure my work was done. So every recess, every lunch, like, I was doing my homework. I was making sure that I got it done before I got home because, quite honestly, I could not only play sports, but when I was done with playing those sports, then I got to play video games, and that was a great driver of being wanting to fuck around pretty much. If I had all my schoolwork done by the time I got home, then I can do all the fun stuff that I wanted to do the rest of the day, and I did not have to worry about it. I did not have to worry about studying or anything like that because I had done it all. It was all completed. So the hard work at the beginning of the day, the hard work getting shit done at the beginning of the day allowed me to fuck off the rest of the day and do the things that I really wanted to. And it should be the same with like being a leader and being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. If you do all the hard shit and you're highly concentrated on this and you get that stuff done, then the rest of the day you can essentially do what you want. It can be yours to do your things for yourself. And Andy Frisella talks about this with the power list, in that he's puts 5 things on a list every day that need to get done to move your business forward. And he said if it takes 2 hours to get them all done, great. The rest of the day you have fucking to do whatever you want. If it takes 12 hours to get it all done, then it's gonna take fucking 12 hours to get them all done. But you get them all done that day, period, no matter what, come hell or high water. And that's allowed him to scale multi-billion dollar companies. That same concept has allowed me to scale multi-hundred-million-dollar companies. And along with that, he's also got a home office. He's also set it up to where he's able to work from home, do everything he needs to from home. But for him, he's got an office with great employees that he likes to visit every single day. I don't. So I need to make sure that my home office is set up for success, which essentially you don't need a special water fountain or special things or all this shit on the wall. I mean, my office started out as just white blank walls in my other house with a desk and a computer and Wi-Fi. That's all you need. Like you don't need distractions, you don't need all this cool stuff in your office. You don't. This is stuff that you just end up having over time or getting over time to fill it. All you need is a space that has a seat, it has a desk, it has Wi-Fi, and that's it. Does not have to be special, does not have to be facing a certain direction in the house or any of that crap. You just need to have a space that you can focus in.
So it's really interesting. In the years that we've been doing the podcast and the many, many hours we've sat and had conversations, I love when I learn something new about you. And it gives me a really cool reference point for how you operate. What you said was that you would watch your mom and dad work and that you knew what it was like to be quiet and get your work done, and that you had a structure for your day where if you got all your work done, then you could play. So, a very different experience for me. So, I think I was about 13 when my mom and stepdad got divorced, and my home was not structured at all. My mom never asked me if I did homework. There were many days I did not go to school and she had no idea. So I had to learn that if I was going to get ahead or do something for myself, then I was going to have to make those decisions for myself because I didn't have any outside influence saying, go to work, go to school, get your work done, get good grades, none of that. Like, I had to decide for myself that that's what I wanted, and then I had to figure out how to become the person to get it. So, there were a lot of times I didn't go to school. Then I saw, my grades falling off or, things not going well, and I had to recalibrate. I had absolutely no one telling me show up, do your best. Okay, now you can go play. I had to decide for myself. Like, if I was going to graduate school, then I had to make those decisions. And so it was very self led, which is probably what leads into wanting to be an entrepreneur because I'm like, I know how to show up. Like, I know how to move, like I don't need somebody on the outside telling me go do these things. Like, I push myself harder probably than anybody could push me because that's how I had to do it in order to go to school, and I ended up going to beauty school in high school, so I was doing both, and graduated high school with my beauty license. So, you know, I went to a different school. It wasn't like a trade school where you do that instead of high school. I did both, but I did that because I decided to do that, not because somebody was like, "Hey, go do these things." So that's interesting, how different experiences can kinda lead to some of the same mentality,
Right.
but from totally different upbringings and,
Yeah.
how it looks in your life, how you take those things, and I think that also goes back to people using their life or how they grew up as an excuse.
Yeah.
'Cause you could use that as an excuse, "Well, my parents always push me, so I was like, forget
Mhm.
that," you know? I could say, "Well, I didn't have anyone to push me, so
Yep.
No, like, you have to decide, and it's who you choose to be in either
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, it's a fucking choice. It comes down to a choice,
Yeah.
period.
Let's say, okay, so you have businesses all over, there's no headquarters for really any of it, everybody's kinda everywhere. When people are pushing you to, like, wanna work from home, because there are people in our clinics, and we have clinic directors at Genesis. So, do clinic directors, like, ever come to you or regionals, like, "I just wanna work from home."
Yeah, there's people that come to us, Brent and I, all the time about working from home, and we had a at-home policy for a while where we allowed people to work from home, but earlier this year, we eliminated all people who work from home, period. If we if they were good enough, then we told them to report to their nearest clinic and work from the clinic. If they weren't, which is 90% of them, we just eliminated them, period. I
What
think
was the driver for that decision?
there is way more data, and again, there's gonna be data that always is biased to where you could argue both sides of this. But there was way more data for us in our company that people who are working from home or people who are working as remote employees were not as efficient as people who were working in the clinics. They just weren't. Especially if we're doing brick and mortar services, or if we have brick and mortars and we're doing hands-on services or services that the phone person might not know all the questions to, or intricacies of booking that they might not be able to answer, that they could quickly answer sitting next to a staff member inside the clinic. And so we realized that there was a lot of inefficiencies there that really weren't benefiting us to have somebody outside of the clinics, uh, in those positions. So it's just that was pretty much the decision. It's just like we're probably losing money and time and spending, and again, the last thing came down to data. We did not have parameters in place for these remote employees to hit certain things. Didn't have KPIs, I would say. So they would just do whatever they wanted. When we put KPIs in place, which were way more than what they were doing on a daily basis, like double the amount of phone calls, double the amount of follow-ups, etc. They hit those easily. It was like, well, shit, what the fuck were you doing the whole other time where we didn't have KPIs? And then we started pushing that envelope even more and saw that they had even more in them. And so I think if you're seeing someone every day, you can push them faster, harder, easier. They can rise to a better level than being at home. Because I would say 99% of people, probably 99.9% of people, like 0.1% are going to be motivated enough to fill every gap that they have in their day with work. That is just not going to happen in the normal person. It's just not, because they're just going to have, well, they got to see their family for a little bit, and then they got to say hi, and then they got to enjoy their you know sunlight afternoon 15-minute break and breath to recenter themselves and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, all that shit adds up to like 2 hours wasted during a day. And when you're an entrepreneur, like, all those gaps are filled way into the night. So that's what I've seen, where if somebody asks us now, we just say no. No, we don't have a system and a process or a company where people can really be efficient and effective and work from home, because we've tried that in different styles, in different states, with different people. So it wasn't just one person and we just had this policy across the board. No. Bunch of different types of people, bunch of different types of outreach, bunch of different types of positions in our system, all failed.
Yeah.
And so therefore, just not worth it for us anymore to have those types of people. It just isn't.
When it comes to getting buy-in from your spouse and your family, you need to have that when you're working from home, because if not, it can be really like a pool, It's easy because 'cause you're at home, so, like, wife or your kids can come interrupt all the time, or I mean, I'm speaking from, like, the female perspective. My partner or, even my older son, my daughter, if she hears me, sometimes she's like, "Mom," she knows I'm home, so she's like yelling. So it's like, how do you get that buy-in? So it's like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not here. And how do you establish those boundaries? How have you established those boundaries so that you don't get constant interruption, or, there is a time that's like your work time as if you were out of the house, even though you're at the house?
I told my wife long ago when I started working from home, because when we first moved to Texas, I was going into the offices still. I was going into the clinic still and working from the clinics. And then when I started working from home more and more, we had a conversation early on that is just like, I'm going to be working from home. You need to pretend like I'm not here at all. And as the kids grew, I tell them again, and they know, like, pretend like I'm not here. Now, they might randomly walk in to say hi or give me kisses when they go to bed and take their naps and stuff like that. But for the most part, I see them probably in a regular day from waking up at 7 a.m. to going to bed at 8, or to the afternoon, I would say around 5. I see them maybe all of 5, maybe 10 minutes throughout the whole day. Then at 5, when the nanny goes home and we have time, like, we'll eat together, we'll sit together, we'll do some activities and stuff, and then they go to bed around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I go back to work. And sometimes, a lot of times, I'm working until 6 or 7, and then I see them for an hour, and then they go to bed, and I go back to work. So, I got buy-in long ago from Steph and it to run the household as if I wasn't there. And it's a really shitty way it's a really shitty thing to think about, but that's what you sign up for as an entrepreneur, sorry. That's what you sign up for, from working at home. And I have business partners and colleagues that just don't fucking get that. And they're working from home and they're pulled in 5 different directions because their wife wants this or their kids want that, and it's just like, those people are the ones, again, 99.9% of people cannot fucking work from home. I can, because I built it, and I've had buy-in from my wife and the family, where it's like, "You do not bother me while I'm up here. If I'm in my office, do not open that door. Do not bother me. If I'm on a call and you need to come in, unless it's an emergency or something important, you don't." That's just how it is, and they understand that. They support that, and they know that if I'm here, I am at work. If I'm in this office, I am at work. I am doing something that is helping get money for our life, essentially. And so, just like I would be at an office somewhere else, and I wouldn't be able to come and say hi or do anything or any of that shit, it's just like that here in my house. And again, people can't do that because they can't separate the fact that they're at work when they step into a certain part of their house. And their spouse doesn't understand that they're at work when they step into a certain part of the house.
I think a lot of that is communication. Like, you have to set that up from the beginning. Sean and I have that understanding as well, and my son is as well too. He's gonna be 22, and I remember at first he would, still, like, come in my office, and I'm like, "You can't do that." Like, I'm in the middle of a thought, I'm in the middle of a project, and you interrupt me, and it takes time for me then to get back into the groove of what I was doing, or, like, the thought process or the train of thought, like, you can't do that. So now if he wants something, he'll, like, text me. Yeah, it might be once or twice a week, like, "When you have a break, can I ask you a question?"
Yeah.
And he knows that when I'm done with what I'm doing, I'm probably gonna respond to his text.
Yep.
So that boundary had to get set. And then Sean is really good. I don't think he ever comes into my office. If I'm working, he doesn't interrupt me at all.
Yeah.
And I hear sometimes the conversation he'll have with Elia because I'm kind of loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the phone and she can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll hear her at the bottom of the stairs, "Mama," because she's like, "Oh, she's here."
Mm-hmm.
And I hear him like, "Mom's working. She'll be down in a little bit,"
Yeah.
or like, "After your nap, you'll get to see her," that kind of thing. So yeah, it's both directions, you have to have that support because sometimes the one day I came downstairs and Sean's like got everything out of the cabinet, like looking at and I'm like, "What are you looking for?" And he's like, I don't know, it was like some sort of teapot holder thing. And I was like, "Well, why didn't you just ask me?" He's like, "We were working." I'm like, "You tore the whole kitchen apart. I
Yeah.
could have told you where it was in like 2 seconds,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?"
yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, so he like goes far with it. So
Yeah,
that's great.
that's
I'm
good.
not gonna complain about that.
No,
No,
that's very good.
no.
No.
So I'm like, "You're gonna put all that stuff away, right?"
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But to your point on, I don't think that I do get most of the things I need to get done early in the morning because that's when I'm really fresh. And I feel like when you get the heavy stuff off your plate first, then the other stuff feels a little more fun anyway. And then it is easier to just respond when somebody needs something. So it isn't like to the point of like the 3 to 5 things that are the most important, getting those done. But as an entrepreneur, the day never shuts off. You never just like, "Nah, that's it," and, even Kara emailed me on Thanksgiving, and I was like, "Why are you emailing me right now?" She's like, "It's a holiday." I'm like, "Just text me." Like, I don't care if it's a holiday. If you have a question, just text me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are important things as far as getting the buy-in. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe is struggling with that wants to work from home, but they're struggling with that understanding from their spouse on how it needs to look to actually be efficient and be able to work from home?
Yeah, don't. You'll never be able to fucking work from home, period. That's what again, I have a colleague who doesn't fucking get that. They don't get that. Like, sorry, if you do not have buy-in from your spouse or your family, get the fuck out of the house, period. You're not gonna be able to
So
get
go rent an office or
Yeah,
figure
I
out
mean,
some other
go
place to work.
fucking rent an office or go to fucking a Starbucks or go to Panera Bread or go to any I mean, there's a WeWork, centers and stuff like that. There's free places to work where you're without distraction. But guess what? You're not gonna be able to fucking work at home. Period. Just get it out of your fucking mind. And there's people who, like, try and force it, and they have their home office, and they try and do it and whatever, and they can't get any fucking shit done, and then they wonder why they're there in the same position for the last 5 years and not growing and not doing anything at the scale at which they need to grow and do things. It's because you've got these distractions all day long that you cannot separate yourself from. It's just how it is. Like, so if somebody yeah, if you don't have those spouses, if you don't have that spouse, if you don't have that family, if you don't have that office in your house that you can literally die in there and nobody would find you for 2 days, like, you cannot fucking work at home,
Mhm.
period. You
Yeah.
can't. That's just the reality of life. I'm sorry. That sucks for you.
Yeah, and I think as a woman, this I'm assuming is different for you. And I know you have help for Steph. So things like laundry, cooking, things like that get done. As a woman, and I haven't hired somebody to do those things for us. One of the boundaries that I had to set was like, if the kitchen's dirty, the kitchen's dirty. Either somebody else needs to clean it if they're unhappy about it, or it's gonna wait until 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. or whatever whenever I get to it after I'm done working. And recognizing that even my workouts, like now, I have my home gym. So it's like if I don't get up early enough for whatever reason, which I tend to get up around 5:30, so that I have a couple hours to like wake up, have coffee, work out, and then start working because I really like working out in the morning. And I feel like if I don't do that, and let's say I sleep, then I don't work out. And so it's something that I go, well, shit, like I missed my workout today. So I need to make sure I'm up. I don't then go, oh, well, I'm going to work out anyway and not do my work. Like you have to have not only boundaries with your family, but you have to have boundaries with yourself too. Like if you're not showing up the way you need to be efficient, then something else, it's a trade-off. Like something else has to go. If you don't get up and work out, you don't just like cut into your day getting a workout in. Unless of course you've gotten all your stuff done and then you do it, but I think those are things too. It's agreements with yourself, and the more you keep agreements with yourself, the more trust you have in what you can do, but you also have a lot more trust in other people that way because it's a reflection of how you see the world. How do you switch not having time to, like, let's say, decompress after a long day? How do you switch from work mode to family mode? So you said you work till, like, 5, sometimes 7, whatever time frame that is, and then you switch over to family mode so that you can enjoy your kids and your wife for a little bit each day.
So I am consistently working no matter what, and I have the worst advice for that, you know? So, I don't have any advice for that. I don't have any good advice. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what the fuck I'm talking about with that one. Yeah, really, I don't.
Yeah. I have a hard time with it too. I will sometimes, which is pretty rare, but sometimes I'll just leave my phone in the office. Like, if I'm really feeling like I need a break, like, I need a second, I'll leave it in the office, my headphones in my phone, and then, if I need to eat something or just take a breather where my mind's not in it, if there's something that feels like a lot, but I feel like your capacity to handle that also grows as you grow in business because you can handle a lot of things coming at you from different ways. Some people can. I think that kind of lends to people that maybe work well from home. Like you can handle a lot. So it takes a lot for me to be like, oh, I just got to turn this off for a minute.
Yeah,
But
and it's
sometimes I'm like, I wish I would turn it off for a minute because I get if I respond too quick, sometimes I'm reactive.
mm, yeah,
Um, and it's like, if I had just thought about that for a few more minutes,
yep, yep, yep.
I maybe would have said that different or
Yeah,
responded a different way.
yeah,
So, like,
absolutely.
maybe my phone being put away would be a good
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
because then I could be like, "Okay,
Let me think
let
about
me
this.
really think about what I wanna say
Yeah,
here or how I
yeah.
wanna say it."
You can get that around that by doing drafts and then coming back to it later on your emails. But I mean, and even during the day, like I have my phone while I'm recording podcasting or whatever, and people might watch this and be like, "Oh, that's rude" or whatever. But it's like, okay, try and run 8 fucking companies and have a day where you can just record all fucking day. It's just part of it. Is part of that. What people like to say, work-life balance. There's no fucking work-life balance. I'm sorry, period. And Steph understands that. Steph knows that, which is good because she sees me and what I've done this entire time, and she notices it, and she's like, and she notices it, and we talk about it, and she sees it, and she said, okay, that person thinks that they could have work-life balance, and she calls it out right then and there. She's like, but they don't see what like that really means, that there is no fucking such thing as work-life balance. If you wanna be a really good leader, a really good business owner, a really good manager, like any of the above, if you wanna be higher level C-suite in any company you work for, there's no fucking work-life balance, period. 0. Absolutely none. So, you just need to get that out of your mind and make sure that you understand that, and your family understands that.
Yeah. Also, if you really are passionate about what you do and you really believe in it, at least the people I've been around that have done big things, they don't really want to turn it off because it's like you're driven by what you're going to accomplish, the impact you're going to have, the financial benefit that comes from doing all those things, but there are other things about that lifestyle that fill you up. And so it's like, I know if I take like Thanksgiving Day, actually, well, I replied to a few emails or whatever, but I didn't really work on anything. By Friday, I was like, all right, I got shit to do. Like, I feel like I'm, missing out here. I need to work on stuff. And so it doesn't take very long before, but I want to do that, and so I think when you really love what you're doing, there is a drive to spend time with it. It's
Yeah.
like your family. I mean, you love your family. There's a drive to provide for them and spend time for them with them. And you have that, in business too.
Yeah.
Going back to married with kids and working from home, the third point is some people need a change of environment to perform. And how do you know whether or not you can work from home and be efficient and productive is what environment works best for you. And working from home isn't for everyone. And there are times where you do need a change of environment. So, how do you think people figure that part out? Where do they where do they pull from when it comes to change of environment that can work best for them?
I think that 90% of the people probably listening to this are gonna be in their office every day, or like their med spa every day and their business every day, or going to work for someone every day. So they're not gonna have the choice to find out what's best for them or how they work best. Um, I think everyone's gonna be different when it comes to efficiencies and how they work best. So it's gonna be a lot of trial and error. Everybody's wired differently. Some people, again, some people will do great at home, but that some people is still 0.1%. And I think it's the same conversation you have to have with yourself if you want to truly be an entrepreneur. If you want to truly run a business, which in my world, the med spa world, every nurse practitioner, every nurse, I would say to a much less degree doctors, uh, they all wanna run their own business. They all wanna do their own thing because they think it looks cool and think it looks cute and they think it gives them freedom. And you have to really ask yourself, am I willing to commit 14 hours a day to work and then another 2 to 3 hours after that every single day working on the business for years, 7 days a week until this thing starts to make enough money to where I might be able to pay myself? Like, are you willing to do that? Number 1. Or would you much rather stay at home, or not stay at home, but would you much rather go to work for someone else and just get a paycheck and know when you go home, you don't have to worry about work ever again. You don't have to worry about the vendors or the clients or anything like that ever. You just got to show up at somebody else's work. Like, do you want to do that? Do you want to potentially starve? Do you want to potentially have nothing? Do you want to potentially get sued? Do you want to potentially have all those things go wrong to where you can't pay your bills or anything like that? You ask yourself that question. And it's the same when you want to work from home. Like, if I work from home, am I able to completely separate myself from anything, work without any distractions whatsoever, like so I could be efficient and get shit done? And just like being a business owner and those questions, 99% of people should say no. I cannot do that. The problem is that you've got 50% of people that are like, "Yeah, I could fucking do that." That's just the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So they have shitty home, they can't fucking work at home. They do a shitty job, they get fired, and then they're like, "Oh, why couldn't I do what like I could work from home. I was doing this and that." No, you were fucking busy. You were being completely inefficient with your time for the amount of money that somebody's paying you. And it's the same thing with like being an entrepreneur. It's the same fucking question. It's like fitness. Working out from home might be great if you have a home gym, but if you never fucking use it, then it's useless. It really is. Creating an environment around you, but then not utilizing that environment is just as useless as, you know, not having an environment whatsoever. Period. So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it makes me think about the podcasting even when you're talking about efficiency and the home office. As you've continued to create more content and we do the podcast, you created a podcast studio in your office. So, there it's very efficient to walk from your desk to sit down at the table to turn on the cameras and get content.
Yep.
But for people who are like, I can see how it would be overwhelming for somebody who's like, I gotta work out, I gotta build a business, I gotta spend time with my family, I gotta create content,
Yep.
and they're all over the place,
Mhm.
and it's like you're running to an office and then you're going to the gym and then you're going to a studio and then you're at home at some point with your like that's craziness.
Mhm.
And it would feel like a lot.
Yep.
It would feel like a lot. And most people aren't going to be able to sustain that type of lifestyle. So when the conversation is, can you have it all? You can, but your lifestyle and your environment needs to be conducive for what you say you want. And then you also have to be driven enough to do the things that you need to do. Like you said, you can't just have a pretty environment and then never use it. Like, not going to get in shape looking at your workout equipment. I, however, have benefited from people doing that because I've bought a lot of workout equipment online from people who thought they were going to use it and never
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I got like brand new things
Yeah.
for half the
We got a
price.
Peloton for free yesterday because somebody bought it in the neighborhood and literally had never used it or used it very little and then upgraded to e-bikes and it just sits there. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But
I love
Facebook Marketplace, it's the greatest
great.
place to buy all those things because you're absolutely right. People buy these things and then never use them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so creating an environment. I thought about that too, and I recently redid one of our second bedrooms into like an office studio space because I was working in the landing, which then the baby could really hear me talking. I was like, this isn't working. So I knew I needed to shift the space. Um but I also, like, was like, "How often do we have guests?" Like, I really don't need a room for my sister who comes once every quarter. Like, I'm gonna get an air mattress and she can sleep in the baby's room.
Yeah. Right?
Like, or if you don't like that, get a hotel.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm not gonna use this whole room for you to come visit a couple times a year.
Yep.
And so, I redid the environment to make it work for me because I had went well, we did the skincare line, but when we were first like in the final stages of like, okay, now we got to launch, and I'm like, I got to start putting content out. I went to a studio in Fort Worth, great studio, beautiful. But I was like, I'm never going to keep up with this. Like to drive to Fort Worth, which for people listening who don't know Dallas to Fort Worth, about 40 minutes to set up. I got all my stuff, unloading, just is so much. I was like, I'm never going to keep up with this. It's not sustainable. Not with everything else that I need to do. So
Yep.
created an environment at home where I could, do that and create content and be more efficient
Yeah.
with it.
Absolutely. And that's essentially what we did here with creating the podcast room here in the office. It just makes it easier.
Yeah.
Get shit done.
And also, even in this, like you were talking about checking your phone or doing things while we're podcasting, there are times where we're here for podcasts and you got to jump on a meeting,
Yep.
but you don't have to go to an office for a meeting. You take 10 steps, you're at your meeting.
Yep.
As soon as the meeting's over, we're back recording.
Exactly.
So it makes the time very efficient. And I don't mind the hour drive
Yeah.
because it is, we talked about this in a previous podcast. It's actually really great thinking time for me.
Hmm.
That time to actually be with myself. I process so much information. I won't turn the radio on. Sometimes I listen to podcasts and stuff, but sometimes I just allow myself to actually process all the things I'm creating, all the things I need to do, and identify what's the next best step.
Hmm.
And having that drive once a month or twice a month is like really, really good for me. So I actually really like it.
Yeah. That's
Doesn't
awesome.
doesn't bother me. All right. So let's talk about efficiency creating presence. You said you're terrible at this, you don't want to talk about it. But but we're going to talk about it anyway a little bit. It looks different for everyone, and I think that's an important takeaway from this podcast is that while you say you're no good at it, every family is going to have a different function that works well for them. Steph understands, she believes in what you're doing, she sees the value in it. Um, and she's very supportive. So that works for your family. How does it look right now for your family? You're building, you've got a lot going on when it comes to balance, which is probably not the best term considering we say that's not there, but healthy balance between working from home, being productive in this space, but then being with your family. Like, what does that look like for you right now?
Yeah. So kind of we talked about it earlier on the episode, but I get up, I am already doing my emails from bed. I start to make breakfast. Sometimes I'll make breakfast, sometimes I won't. More recently, I've been just going straight to working. Um, when the kids get up, they might, if because my office is on the second floor, it's at the end of the hallway where their rooms are. So they'll probably stop by and say hi or give me good morning
Mm.
hugs and kisses and stuff like that, and then they go down and eat breakfast and everything like that. And then I'm sitting in the office and working all day long. And right before 2 p.m., they might come up and say hi and give me kisses again before they go to nap. And then they nap until 5:30. And again, during that entire time, I'm working. I only see them when they say hi in the morning, or I say hi to them in the morning for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at the most. 5 minutes or less saying hi to them before they nap, and then not seeing them until the end of the day after my last meeting. And I see them for a few hours before they get put down to bed, not before I kill them. But that being said, that's kind of my day to day. That's the schedule as it, and it's people say, oh, it's family friendly, or it's good that you work from home so you can see them and stuff. I probably see my kids less than if I had a 9 to 5, because if I had a 9 to 5, then at least I could see them in the morning and then go to work, and then after 5, I wouldn't have to worry about taking any calls or any other jobs or anything like that, and I could just spend 3 hours with them solidly every night before they go to bed. And, that's not the case. Sometimes I'm on the phone or meetings until 6, 7:30 at night, and I get to see them for 30 minutes before they go to bed. So I'm not constantly available for my family when I am at home. What I need to get better at, I would say, is being fully present when I am with them and doing less of the work when I am with them. There are studies that show that when you sit down in front of a client, for example, when you sit down in front of a patient, even if you spend 5 minutes with them, they will have perceived the time you spent with them as twice as long if you just sit down. And so it's the same with my kids. I have to start getting better at uh sitting with them, or just being with them and looking straight at them and talking to them, etc. They know really well because they say, yeah, daddy, estoy, está trabajando, are you going to work? Or like, what are you working on, etc. And so they'll say those things, and they understand those things, and they know that I'm working throughout the day. But I need to get better at shifting the gears and giving my family their full attention, which I'm not good at. And so the goal isn't to blur the line between work and home. The goal is to have a very specific line between work and home. And there's great entrepreneurs who do this very well. I follow Rob Dyrdek, who was, he was famous for skating and stuff like that, and then
Such a fun show.
runs ridiculousness.
Such a fun
And
show.
like, that guy's life is so meticulous and separated from family and from work, and he's so efficient with his time. He's been able to compress time and spend whole afternoons with his family while he recorded 60 episodes of ridiculousness that morning. I mean, he's insane. His work ethic and the way he has structured things around him to be like as efficient as humanly possible. So he's somebody I really respect and follow to see how he does is a good dad and a great business owner. But then I've also seen and had entrepreneurs and mentors that are shit family oriented people, and that were pretty much like, yeah, I didn't really pay attention to my kids until they were high school because I was too busy building and stuff like that. So you have both sides of it. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there right now that they don't have kids, and they have no fucking idea. And so it's different when you have kids and you're trying to build companies. It is 100% different. It is way harder than just building companies to have employees, period. It just is. I don't care how much you want to argue with me on that in terms of, or people want to argue with me on that in terms of how many people we have, employees. Oh, they're my kids. Go fuck yourself. It's not.
Different.
It's not. It's totally different. It's
Yeah.
way, way fucking harder trying to take care of employees and children, like real children, at the same time. But
Not
then,
people who act like children, but
yeah,
actual children.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I think when you work efficiently, you earn the ability to have that presence. It's like buying back your time. Like, if you work efficiently, if you do things right, then you earn the right to spend more time with your children, or spend that time with your children in those cases. And so I think that's a big part of it and what I'm trying to work towards. But I'm not there yet, and I'm pretty terrible at it.
And are you still doing date nights with
Yeah,
Steph
yeah,
once a week?
we do date nights every week, once a week.
So I think, hey, you gotta give yourself something there.
Yeah, well, even those are
Yeah.
those are even half-assed, like, even though they're scheduled, they're still half-assed where it's just like, I'm not focused, I'm not there, sometimes I'm still working on my phone and shit like that, so all those things have to get better, and I'm not gonna pretend like I have advice, but those are things that you can try and force into your schedule, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like what we've talked about, it's not necessarily a one size fits all, but it takes a special kind of person to be able to work from home and be efficient and have the balance. Uh,
0.1%, literally 99.9% of you guys, you can't do it, trust me. Trust me, you just fucking can't, it's not worth it,
yeah.
period. Don't try and be somebody you're not. Don't try and pretend like you can do it, whatever. I've been doing it for only for working from home, solidly working from home and not seeing any patients or anything like that. I've probably been doing it 2.5 years, but it is a whole hell of a lot more work than actually going to an office every day. It is. It's way more. It never turns off. Your office is available to you 7 days a week. Clinics are closed half the days of the week. They're closed on weekends. Not your office. My office is open 7 days a week. I work in it 7 days a week.
So I typically work from a laptop,
Mhm.
which is not always a good thing because then I will just carry my laptop to any room I'm in.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
it's like my office just follows me everywhere.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm like, let me shut this
Yeah.
and just, okay, all right, it's going to stay in my office today. I'm not taking it out of this room. Uh, so some of those self-talk, I have to hype myself up to leave my computer behind at
Yep.
times.
Yep.
I'm like, I could just do this one thing while I'm, cooking dinner. No, no, let me focus. Because multitasking, like we talked about before, does not always work well. That's usually when I react to something and I don't necessarily respond the way that I should. It's like when I'm trying to hurry up and get this last thing done or whatever. What I love about this conversation that we just had is you're not saying somebody should work from home or somebody shouldn't work from home, but it's being intentional. If you are going to work from home, make sure that is truly aligned with who you are, what you're good at, and being able to set it up so that you can have an environment that keeps you efficient and productive and have relationships that support that. And if you can't, just be honest and don't do it and don't pretend to be something you're not. I think that's a wonderful takeaway because in a world that pushes people to be something that they're not, one of the most valuable things in building a business that people are going to follow is being authentic. Be authentic, be real. It's cool. Not everybody has to do everything. Not everybody has to be great at everything. Like figure out what you're great at. If working from home works for you, do it. And maybe some of the things we've talked about are practical ways that you can be even better at it. But if it doesn't work for you, just own it and just say like, "Hey, working from home doesn't work for me, so I don't do that." But in any case, be honest and authentic about who you are and then show up intentional.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that. That's 100% true, and that is absolutely well said. So, appreciate you guys for listening. As always, like, share, comment, post, whatever you guys can do to get the word out. I appreciate you guys. As always, you can DM either of us, Dr. Alex Spinoso, or at Amanda May Beauty Boss. And we're here to help you guys out. See you next week.